next few days. But as always, some unbelievable stuff you can pick up to improve your ultimate team. In order to get them, you've got to obviously link your EA and Twitch account. We know that hopefully by now. Make sure it's linked. Just keep it linked. But also get involved in Twitch extension. That's the way you can take part in little quizzes and surveys and polls and predictions, things like that. So you want to be doing it anyway, but make sure you do that to increase your chance of winning. So, we all know that information now. Let's talk about the first game. It's going to be Moalba versus Maestro. What are you thinking?
I'll be bold. I think Maestro's favored it in this, even though Moalba's the champ. You talk to a lot of pro players, nobody wants to see Maestro right now. They said that he loves the game, it fits his gameplay style really well. He's creative with the attack, and he's being really patient. Both ends are
I think I was very lucky to be able to see both of these guys play at the Draft Story Cup. Yep. Obviously, it's not EA, it's not Esports Edition, so you can't use every icon you want. But it was a tournament where players were put in kind of positions where they weren't comfortable. And Maestro made the final there. It was Danny that won it. But up into the final, Maestro looked unbelievable, as you said, Mike. He's just enjoying the game at the moment. Moalba crashed out in the groups. I know obviously it's on foot. It's a foot draft thing. It's completely different. Yes, Mo obviously qualified for the next FUT Champions Cup, but just out of the two, Maestro just seems so much more calm and better at the moment.
Yeah, and the pressure's on Moalba, like we were just saying a bit earlier. Obviously, he's coming in here as world champion. How much do you want it? That's always the question I think you have to ask as well. You've just won the biggest accolade that you could do in the FIFA scene. Where does that motivation come from? He went to the Best Awards and Jurgen Klopp knew his name, for example, and Jurgen Klopp was introducing Moalba to Van Dijk. Like, all these things happened to him in the off-season is just crazy. And I guess how much does he reset and how much does he want this now going into this series?
I think it's a really good point. I think all the time off, like you were saying earlier, with all the media appearances that he's done, that he hasn't been maybe able to grind the game the same way. We'll see. I don't want to downplay Moalba. He just had a wonderful year, but I definitely don't know that. I know that Maestro's playing at this top tier, even at the professional level, and he's got to be one of the favorites at this event. Not only to go far, but potentially to win this event. Yeah,
but equally, it's a marathon, not a sprint. This is the first game of the first tournament. Lose it, the Swiss format means you can bounce back from that. So, yeah, maybe Moalba's got a little bit more pressure on him, but it's almost like that the movie narrative. Man comes good, wins event or whatever, gets success, and then does it? I'm not going to say this is Moalba, but does it go to his head? Does he take his foot off the gas and not be the same? He's that Moalba. He's been around a long time.
Yeah. What movie are we watching, Spence?
Well, it's like every movie. That is the plot of every movie.
Is he still smiling? That's always the key as well. We know him as like Mr. Smiler. I haven't even really seen. Does he seem more stressed? Like, have you guys seen him a lot so far?
He's got a lot to smile about right now.
Oh yeah, of course.
I think it's all about mentality at the end of the day. Look at MS Tasari. He's a world champion, but he's still as hungry as ever to win FUT Champions Cups, to win any major, to win any trophy. Moalba has got that mentality deep down that he wants to go and win trophies. Although he's an World Cup champion, it won't affect how much he wants to win big trophies this year.
It's time for me to put you guys on the line, though. I need predictions. I've got a feeling I know where Mike's going to go, so we'll start with you, Mike. Who do you think is going to win this matchup?
I got Maestro.
Maestro, you're confident about that, aren't you?
I just really rate Maestro's game at the moment. Everything I've seen online, results, talking to pros, I like the way that he's playing, and it looks like he enjoys the title a lot. And it kind of gives you that extra edge when you are looking forward to the grind. You wake up at 8 a.m., you're like, I'm ready to go. FIFA all day, I'm not stopping anything, and I'm making adjustments. I'm taking notes, I'm reviewing gameplay, and that's what I feel when I look at Maestro right now. He's like, I got new celebrations, I'm going to unleash them on stream. I'm like, cool, I want to see.
He just goes with Mbappe celebrations because he's gone from that, he's gone to the crying one now.
I hope he doesn't bust out the crying
He's
one.
on the background of our set here. You guys can't see it in shot right now, but just over there, you got Maestro doing the crying. Any change for you in predictions, Brandon?
I think for me, I'm going to back Maestro to make the cross-console final as well this week.
I didn't even ask for that.
But I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give it to you.
Generous.
I just feel like he looks very, very good. There you go. You can see the celebration in the background there. I hope the Mbappe original doesn't disappear because that was my favourite celebration for Maestro. But yeah, looks great at the moment. Looks really just confident on FIFA 20. He's going to get my vote.
The question is Maestro copying Mbappe or is Mbappe copying Maestro? We don't know who's doing them first. Rachel, who's going to win the game?
Well, I'm going to have to just go the other side because I felt I was maybe a little bit harsh on Moalba there. He's world champion. He's seen that he's been the underdog before and he's come and taken the title. Let's see how much he's improved from the Draft Story Cup that you just said. That was a couple of weeks ago. He can now kind of have an unlimited team. He can go with as many icons as he wants. Will that favour him? Let's see. I don't know. I'm going to pick Moalba.
It's a crazy world when going with the world champ also is like the underdog.
I know, but I'm gonna back him.
Yeah, it's going to be a fascinating match. On me, probably going to go Maestro as well, but I think it's going to be a closer game than you maybe think. But I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
How good is it as well? This is round one switch. Yeah. We've got this matchup, a top 4 matchup. Both players obviously got, entered into the tournament, the first Champions Cup, and this is our first game. As I spoke to my Albany, he was like, "Who's in control of this? Why am I playing against Maestro?"
Why not?
How is
Sorry,
it
just
Kick it off. Kick it off nice with some fun. 2 guys I want to hear also with some predictions are our casters for the game. So Dan and Mark, who I think can join us now. What are you saying for this matchup? Who is going to get the W?
That's a very interesting question, isn't it, Spencer? I think I'm quite surprised with some of the predictions I've heard from you guys, to be honest with you. I mean, you're backing, the so-called underdog Maestro against the world champion. I'm going with Maestro as well, to be honest.
I'm surprised, but I agree.
He has an interesting record against Mo Alba. Apart from the World Cup last year, he beat him all the way through the season, 3 different separate occasions. So Maestro seems to have Mo Alba's number, apart from that one pretty big asterisk in the E-World Cup final.
I'm going to go with the same as last season and just predict against Mark at all times. So I think Mo Alba's going to take this one.
Slightly favouring Maestro, obviously, but it's only one way to find out who's going to win. I hand it over to you guys for the game. Enjoy it.
Thank you very much, Spencer. And yes, welcome along, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for our first match of the FIFA 20 competitive season to get underway. Dan, pleasure to have you back, mate. It's good to be back in the booth.
It is an honour, as always, to be alongside you, Mark. Very much looking forward to it. And I mean, the first game of the competitive season, Mo Alba versus Maestro. I mean, the guys already alluded it to on the desk. World champion against Maestro, got to the semi-finals of the World Cup. They did play each other. It was a 5-1 victory for Mo Alba over Maestro, which, as you said, from the season records, that was quite a surprise to us. We weren't really expecting such a result, but what a season it was for Mo Alba.
פלדמן עם... פלדמן השחורים? כן. בטוח? כן. איך אתה יודע?
כי ליד הפלדמן, כי ליד הג'יילר השחורים.
נכון. טוב, בוא נראה את פלדמן. נאמר מקבל את הכדור, נאמר מוסר פס. מה נאמר מחליט לעשות? למסור לוויירה?
ויירה נותן.
הגנה של פלדמן.
שפרמן להמשיך. דאבל פס פה מעניין עם מולית וזמברוטה.
ויירה, אם ויירה מחליט לבעוט? לא, מחליט למסור לחולית.
מולית חזרה לוויירה, יש פה דאבל פס מאוד יפה של ויירה ואולית. כאילו איכשהו מגיע לניימר.
רונלדו! ניימר! גול! איי.
1-0 לג'יילר.
לא נורא פלדמן, לא נורא.
הכל טוב.
הוא עשה אבל גול יפה, הוא עשה גול יפה.
אז דאבל פס מדהים.
בואי נורא פלדמן.
יש גילי.
בסדר, אין מה לעשות. יאללה פלדמן, יאללה, שלך.
הכל טוב.
אתה לא שומע אותי? אני נפרק איתו.
גול טוב של ניימר.
כן, הוא יכול לחסוך את הגול הזה, אבל זה פיפא, אין מה לעשות. ניימר 92.
כחול שלו.
טוב, יאללה.
ויירה
הכדור באמצע, אנחנו לא כל כך נדבר שהכדור באמצע. שיעבור את החצי. דברים כאלה.
הוא מתחיל להתקדם עם פלא.
יסבי, אבל... עלי קיסבי. פלא.
פלא לקרויף, הוא יכול לתת אחורה.
אתם אחורה, הייתי משחק את זה רגוע.
פלדמן לא רוצה ישר לפרוץ, הוא לא רוצה שיאבד לו הכדור.
פלדמן טוב בביצות מרחוק.
כן.
שים את הטלפון שלך על מיוט, שים אותו על מיוט. שלי על מיוט.
שלי גם. אבל שים אותו כאילו על רטט?
לא, על מיוט, על מיוט. שהם יתקשרו, אנחנו לא ישמעו.
כאילו ככה?
לא. כן, שקט יופי.
אוקיי.
פלדמן חוטף, זה מסוכן.
כדור מולה של פלא, אבל
זה מסוכן, איי. מנדייק מתחיל התקפה מחדש בצד האחורי.
שכמעט לכל שחקן פה בקבוצות יש את ונדייק.
תתקרב שיש מאוד חדש, אני מדבר שתתקרב.
מעניין אותי מאוד למה לכל קבוצה יש פה את ונדייק. ונדייק שמעתי שהוא מאוד טוב השנה.
יופי. מסוכן.
וירג'יל עוצר את זה.
טוב, פלא מחליט לעשות.
פלא מתחיל לנסות לפרוץ קדימה.
פייק שוט.
יש שם את קרויף למעלה, אבל מעדיף להוריד את זה אחורה.
הוא מתחיל ברגע, הוא לא רוצה ישר לפרוץ.
הוא לאט לאט מגיע להתקפות.
אני מקווה שהגול הזה שהוא קיבל, לא ירתיע אותו.
כן.
וזה מה שיוצא לו לגרום להמשיך לשחק יותר טוב.
גם אני.
בינתיים ניימר.
פלא נותן להולית. הולית מצוין לקרויף, איזה דאבל פאס בגבולית לקרויף.
פלא!
עכשיו עם פלא. פלא לרונלדו, יכול פוטריק.
איי, זה היה יפה, זה היה
של
יפה.
ונדרסאר.
אני מגביה את הכדור, רונלדו?
הוא מחפש
הלו.
את ונדייק, הוא מצא
כן,
גם
רונלדו?
גבולית, אבל ונדרסאר יוצא מצוין.
מה שכן, פלדמן יודע
כן.
לתת קרנות.
מה שכן, אבל ונדרסאר הוא יוצא לכל כדור והוא מאוד גבוה. הוא
כן.
1.97.
כדור חוץ של ג'ניר.
ונראה מה הוא יעשה מחוץ של נאמר.
הוא מאוחר לפתח מזה משהו טוב.
הוא מחליט להוריד לפלר. כדור מצוין
כדור
שלו
יפה.
לארניין. ארניין יכול לתת לו פלא באמצע. הוא מחליט לתת אחורה. זמברוטה יכול לראות את נאמר.
תראו, הוא פנוי שם, אתה רואה?
כן.
פלדמן מצליח לקחת את
טעות
הכדור.
של אולי,
בוא נראה מה
אבל
פלדמן יעשה.
הוא
לא,
מצליח
לא
לתקן.
מצליח.
עכשיו את הכדור עם זמברוטה לפלא.
פלא.
פלא יכול לתת לאולית, זה מה שהוא עושה. אולית נותן למעלה לנאמר. חזרה לאולית.
יכול להיות מסוכן, פותח
וירה
את
עכשיו
הצדדים.
ידע לבעוט. אולית אחורה, קדימה לנאמר. וירה. נאמר שוב. לא, זה אופסייד.
אופסייד?
כן, אופסייד.
יופי. יאללה, פלדמן להתאפס. יאללה, פלדמן, נו.
איך כבר דקה 33?
משחקים מהירים. ונדייק.
דייק לאולית. אולית לזמברוטה.
וירה.
הוא יכול לתת שם לאוסביו למטה, זה מה שהוא עושה. אוסביו עכשיו יכול להכניס לקרויף. הוא מכניס לקרויף.
וואי, זה היה כדור יפה. פס, סתם פס.
כן, סתם פס.
הוא חוטף?
לא, אולית מצליח לתקן בשנייה אחת.
יכול להיות שזה כל פעם מצליח לתקן, רק מתקן.
כן, אולית כל הזמן מצליח לתקן את זה.
צריך שיפתח טוב כאילו, את המשחקים האלה. כי אנחנו לא רוצים פלדמן שאני יכול לעשות חזק.
הוא גם יכול ללכת טוב.
טיפה ריקוד והוא מנצח. כן, פלדמן משחק בטורניר. אולי נשארת את הכותרת שיבינו. ככה יותר טוב? ככה. בדרך טוויץ' יא אח. עושה ביו. זה מסוכן.
אולית מצליח לעצור ויש...
טוב, מחצית. משחק רע של פלדמן, מחצית רעה מאוד של פלדמן.
כן, פלדמן לא שיחק טוב.
בואי נראה אם נוכל לראות את הסטטים.
אני משער שכן.
מחצית ממש רעה של פלדמן.
לא הלך לי טוב.
טוב, אבל זה רק 1-0.
כן, אני יכול לחזור מזה.
אנחנו יכולים לחזור מזה בקלות. 5 צופים, אתה רואה? איזה לייב טוב זה?
גם לייב של...
יאללה, כל מי שבלייב שיפרגן בסבב הלייב, שנוכל להראות פלדמן. ראיתי, יש לג'אנר בעיטה אחת למסגרת גול. יאללה, 5 צופים. כל מי שבלייב תנו בסאב ובלייק, שנוכל להמשיך את הטורניר, כי זה טורניר ארוך. אם אתם רוצים שנמשיך לשדר אותו,
תפרסמו את השידור בעזרת לתת ככה בלייק.
תקרב, ישמעו אותך. טוב, יאללה, מחצית שנייה. אמרנו שפלדמן יודע.
שחורים עדיין.
אתה יכול לזכות את תריס נועם? תתריס, בהווה. תתריס. איפה שהשקע? למטה, הנה. תתריס, תסיגו תתריס. סנדבר, תודה. אנחנו כבר רבע שעה בלייב, כמעט רבע שעה בלייב, אנחנו 4 צופים.
85 לייקים.
ויפה, אנחנו נראה את פלדמן בעזרת השם מנצח.
מקווה מאוד שיצליח להפיל בטורניר הזה.
פלדמן הוא השחור, נכון?
כן.
טוב, חולית.
ויירה, פותח טוב.
נמר יכול לבעוט, הוא לא בעט.
מעדיף לא להסתכן. וואו, כדור מצוין שלו ל-R9.
R9 טיפה מסתבך, מחליט לשחרר.
הוא מחזיר, הוא מקבל כדור בחזרה, הוא יכול לתת את השלוש. טימו מעדיף ללכת אחורה.
R9, כמו שאתם מכירים אותו, עושה כל מיני טריקים.
כן, R9 עם הכדור.
טיפה שבור.
ירודולית, לנעימר. נעימר הולך. ויירה יכול לצאת למטה.
סגירה טובה. מאוד. פלדמן מחליט לשחק את זה לאט, לא אפשר לפרוץ. הוא יכול לשחרר לו עכשיו פס. מעדיף לאחורה.
פלדמן מעדיף לשחק על הענעת כדור.
בוא נסתכל על הסטטים של השחקן הזה, מעניין אותי. בוא נראה קודם אם יש לו ערוץ ביוטיוב. ניתן להמשיך לשדר אתה. זה לא משעמם להם.
לא משעמם.
שלא ישתרים להם משחק, תמשיך לשדר.
בוא נראה עכשיו את זמברוטה עם הכדור. הוא דולית. הוא יכול לתת פה למטה לקרויף, אם זה מה שהוא יעשה. יש לו פה למטה טולית. הוא עושה את זה. יש לו למטה גם את טוסביו. עדיף לחזור לוויירה. איזה כדור. פלדמן נותן לקרויף וויירה עם דאבל פס מצוין. קצת בורח הכדור לוויירה, אבל אין לו נורא. דולית, ויירה.
אני מחפש לכם סטטים.
R9 כדור מצוין. זה נעצר.
לא נראה לי שהוא שחקן כל כך מפורסם, את האמת. טוב, נראה פיפא. כמה משנה, בוא נמשיך לסדר עליהם. טוב.
מתפרצת פה בצד השני של ג'נר, קארוס אלברטו, כדור יוצא לקרן.
קרן, אני מגבה את הקרן. בואו נראה, מגבה את הקרן. עונה לי מגבה את R9, מאבד. לרגע פחדתי שייתן פס ויחטוף לו.
גם אני.
טוב. היי, זה כדור! לא היה שם נבדל, לא היה שם נבדל. מה הוא יעשה? איי איי איי. באסה. דקה 70 אני מזכיר. יש לפלדמן סיכוי לעלות, אבל...
הוא יכול פה לתת עכשיו 70 אני
בוא נראה!
של פלא.
איי איי איי, היה שם. היה שם פאול, זה באסה.
מלדיני. כדור מצוין לקארוס אלברטו.
ויירה.
חולית.
אוי, זה כדור! מה מפלא מחליט לעשות? פלוט את הרגילים? פלא?
סגירה מצוינת.
יאללה, מצפים לראות מה שיפה מפלדמן, יאללה. טוב, בוא נראה. 2-0 ולא שמנו לב? לא, אתה חייב להסתכל, אני
בטלפון, מתי לא הסתכלת?
היה חשוב לי, צריך לתת משהו חשוב. ויארה. חולית. ונדייק. מה ונדייק מתחיל לעשות? להעביר פס יפה. חולית. מה חולית עושה? ויארה. אוי אוי, זה קורה, איזה באסה. איזה קורה, אין את הקורה. זה מחר תודה, זה מטומטם.
למה?
מה זה אותה הזאת?
מה הקשר?
למה אתה רושם את זה בקבוצה?
מה הבעיה? אבל מה הבעיה?
דקה 86 נראה לי שנגמר המשחק של פלדמן. אני לא מאמין שנצליח לשים 2 גולים. מה אתה אומר?
לא, לא נראה לי. אולי גול אחד, גם זה לא יהיה קל.
לא, שים גול בשביל כבוד. יאי. איזה באסה. חרם. רונלדו. נגמר המשחק, GG. משחק מאכזב מאוד של רועי. מאוד מאכזב. ובאסה. טוב. בוא נבדוק אם יש משהו בהוראות של EA. המשחק המבאס של פלדמן. בא לך לראות אותם בינתיים? אני גם נגמר המשחק שלהם עוד רגע.
You can go for the FIFA 19 route of just playing it short and trying to smash it in from the edge of the area, but the substitution from Moalba maybe means that you might be bringing on someone he's comfortable with taking a couple of free kicks with.
I think Cristiano Ronaldo was the player that's coming on, Johan Cruyff as well. Not sure if there might be time to strike a goal. It's Leo Messi. It looks like he might be looking for that knuckleball technique. Starting it above. Goes up. Can he get it down? Oh, hits the crossbar. But the crossbar isn't good enough. Messi. Oh, Jordi Alba gets a touch on that. We're over the allotted stoppage time here. This will be the last chance of the game here for Mo Alba. Has he overhit that? Yes, he has, and unfortunately, so close, but not close enough. And Maestro, the man on your screen, will take a goal advantage into the second leg.
A lot of respect for going direct, though, from the free kick. With the amount of times last season we just saw the layoff constantly, I think that we are getting close now for free kicks being so dangerous. And Mo Alba just so close to making that work. A little bit lower, and that was probably going in. We actually see him hit the bar quite a lot with those knuckleballs. I mean, me personally, I try the same thing. I stick it above the goal, try and drive it down. Amount of times I've seen it collide with the woodwork. So frustrating.
I'm a simple man. I take it short still. I keep it simple. I keep it simple. I like to get that ball onto the opportunity of a little finesse shot from the edge of the box. But yeah, let's break that game down a little bit down, because Mo Alba, I think he's got to keep his head up here. You know, halfway through at the end of that first leg, you know, he created chances. He had a lot of chances. That quite comfortably could have been a 2-3 goal lead for Mo Alba. But it's just a great example of how dangerous Maestro is. He got those chances, And he took them. It was as simple as that, and that's shown in the result, 2-1.
It's on the counter-attack where Maestro is looking pretty scary, and Moalba is unable at the moment to track those fullback runs because he's already tracking the runs of the midfielders, and then suddenly when you've got Roberto Carlos and Alberto on the other side, steaming forward, you're trying to track two different runs, and if Maestro is tapping the L1 button correctly, he's going to be able to send those players through, play that through ball, and then Moalba's not going to do anything about it. And if he doesn't make that initial tackle on the wing, then it's just an easy walk-in.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because you're talking about, you know, we look at one of Maestro's
Feld,
goals.
man.
I'm sorry, excuse me, Moalba's goal, created by Carlos Alberto on the overlap, getting into the box. But Maestro, you could say his best opportunities have come because those fullbacks are pushing forward. So it's kind of the double-edged sword, isn't it? If you have the ball and you're going forward with your fullback, you have to make it count. You can't lose the ball in those dangerous areas.
I think if you... A lot of FIFA 19, we had fullbacks on stay back whilst defending, and very much they were cut out of the game until you were losing by a couple of goals, and then players would encourage them to go forward so you could spread the width. But now we're seeing a lot of players actually encouraging those fullbacks to go forward from the start, because it's difficult to break people down in FIFA 20 at the moment. It's a very defensive game. People do play very low depth. People have been playing drop back. And you need those extra bodies, otherwise you just stand in front of a brick wall. But you can see, if you've got those fullbacks flying forward, you have a chance. You can then cut in from the inside, simple pass across, and you've got an opportunity to goal.
I do feel as well that this second leg is going to be maybe a little bit higher quality than the first one, because of course that's the first game of the FIFA 20 competitive season here. You know, the first game on stream, everyone's getting back into that rhythm, that feel of the game here. You know, we're not online here, we're on LAN, you know, it's all very different, it's all getting back into it. Now that these two players have kind of found their feet in that first leg, I'm expecting some slightly higher quality, but saying that, it looks like Maestro gave the ball away almost immediately, and Moalba is striding forward.
Yeah, we've not seen much flair from either player, like we haven't seen many skill moves being busted out, but these aren't the players who typically bring out the skill moves. These aren't your techs. This isn't your lost in the waves, your attacking kind of force with skill moves. These are just very well-rounded FIFA players that have been successful because they have a little bit of everything, defensively, offensively.
And it's interesting that you say that, because a lot of in FIFA, you know, the majority of FIFA 19's lifespan, we were talking about Moalba and how he scored a lot of goals, but he was struggling defensively. But we were all so impressed at the E-World Cup final how good he was defensively. And now he's going to have to show that again as Maestro is coming forward. R9 almost with the tackle there. Almost managed to burst through the defences. Moalba will win the ball back, and what a ball that is. Eusebio in the foot race there against Carlos Alberto. Goalkeeper will have to come out, and Van der Sar does so.
And the over-top through balls are very powerful in FIFA 20. If you can spread that out to the wing and you can get one of those wide players just instantly darting towards it, or if you play a 1-2 from your left midfielder to your left back, and then suddenly he's absolutely through on goal. But you've got to be careful about just aimlessly hitting it over the back four, because usually the defenders are stronger than the strikers.
Johan Cruyff trying to find the ball through to the striker there. And interesting to see as well, going back to player choices, down the amount of players with that 5-star weak foot, which in my opinion is one of the most valuable things, especially here on FIFA 20, where you have a lot of the ball being played on the ground inside the box. You know, the opportunity to turn onto that weaker foot and know that you're still going to have those incredible statistics with that weak foot just gives you so many more options and causes defenders so many more problems. Pele, one of those players here with that 5-star weak foot, stepping inside the box. And look at this, Ruud Gullit, another player with a 5-star weak foot.
It just means it's very hard to predict. It makes it so much more difficult. Just like right now, Ronaldo twisting and turning on the edge. You don't know if he's going to go left or right, but that's a leap from Patrick Vieira. And that's what Vieira does in the central midfield as well. Both Vieira and Gullit, their legs just seem to get in places that other midfielders can't. Kante, for example, a lot shorter, doesn't really have the leg stretching.
Well, here's Moalba being caught out again in that full-back position. You can see Maestro trying to cut the ball back inside. Just couldn't execute on that final pass here. And now on the counter-attack at the other end of the pitch, it's R9 who's going to beat Van Dijk. The Brazilian inside the box, but Van Dijk puts a solid tackle in. It will be a corner here.
A little bit lackluster from Moalba, just going down the route of hoping if I do nothing, maybe Maestro will think I'm going to do something and I'll be able to easily just dribble past him without using any skill moves. But you saw the weakness of Van Dijk there. Van Dijk being, what, the only gold item we're actually seeing. Ooh. And he has his weaknesses. He isn't as quick as some other defenders. You can play a through ball past him. If he can block and if he can get in the way, Van Dijk is obviously a wall, one of the best defenders in the game. But does lack that little bit of speed in places, even with a shadow.
Well, here comes Moalba, then tries to fire that ball through to the strikers. Unfortunately, though, perfect example of what you just said there, Dan. The height of both Hullet and Vieira means they can cover so much ground, and you can see Maestro now looking for that ball inside the box. Van der Sar has to come, and he collects.
Maybe running out of ideas when you're going for those balls. It's almost like if you have a footballing brain, you see that player making the run, you see the over-the-top through ball is available, and you think, oh, I can play this ball, there's a chance I can score, but realistically, you know, the chances are quite low of you actually pulling away with it, because quite often the keeper will come and get it, or the defender's going to head it away, but it's still very hard to get yourself out of that practice of trusting your brain sometimes. You have to go against your brain.
I think Mo Albert looked very surprised with that through ball not being as effective as he wanted. He saw the run on the overlap and played that ball, and it was just so hugely underhit. And now Maestro, he didn't underhit that one. Cruyff will win the ball there against Roberto Carlos, and with Carlos on the ground, Cruyff is going to try and take advantage of that space, and Carlos is forced to put the ball behind here for a corner.
And there's a little glimpse of the formations that are available for these players. Of course, they can just change them in-game depending on how they want to approach it. Seems like 4-2-3-1 is the base, 4-4-2 is there as an option. Saw a 4-2-2-2 there as a full-on attacking option as well. It just means you've got formation for every scenario. And at the moment, 4-4-2 has been very popular, as it was towards the end of FIFA 19 as well, because in this kind of meta where it is very defensive and the players come back, it makes it so difficult when you've got that left and right midfielder coming back and joining the defense as well as the two strikers. It's almost like you're going through several different walls rather than just the single defensive line.
The Maestro takes this corner short. Van Dijk on the edge of the box. Pele tries to fire it into Eusebio. Calmly defended there by Mo Albert. 10 minutes or so, still the half-time whistle in our second leg. Still the one goal separating the two players.
Not really many chances to scream about in this game. Both players have tightened up defensively. They seem to have worked out how their opponent is going to be attacking. They've been marking the right areas, tracking the runs as well. And there's always the situation when you're going forward where you just try and play those passes as quickly as possible so that your opponent struggles to keep up with it and then inevitably makes a mistake or they turn the wrong way. But both of these players haven't really been making those mistakes defensively in this game.
Yeah, that was great reading of the game there from Mo Albert. Just saw the idea that Maestro have. Maybe a little bit lazy there from Maestro as well. That pass. Fairly choreographed and easy to read at this level. And now it's given the chance to Mo Albert to come and attack himself. Alberto will continue his run. Look at the space here for Eusebio. Hullet comes out to show him some attention. R9 will get a little bit fortunate here to have the ball come through to him. And again, that deep line here from Maestro proving effective. And now he's off on the counter-attack once again.
Thankfully, this time Mo Albert was able to track back a bit quicker, not punished by it. But look at Eusebio just doing that work defensively. That's what a lot of these strikers are making a big difference in this current meta, is those ones who are strong, those ones who have those work rates where they do come back, when they do join the defense, and they can win balls like that. If you didn't have them coming back, they're not going to be winning the ball in those areas, and then suddenly you're under pressure from your opposition. So it's very important that you've got those players on the pitch, and that's the beauty of being at an esports tournament. You get to choose any player in the game.
Half-time whistle goes then. Second leg is still with just the one goal separating the two players. You can see no chances to write home about from either player. That was a little bit of a stalemate, to be honest with you. Still at 2-1, of course, from our first leg. One goal the difference. Essentially, we are at 1-0. And it is going to be up to Mo Albert here to change things up, Dan.
And there's two reasons for that. First reason, you've got Maldini, you've got Van Dijk, you've got Vieira, you've got Hullet. You have 4 of the best defensive players in the game on your team. And it's also the first tournament where a lot of these players were playing with all 4 of those players, or against all 4 of those players. You're not used to having that technique of knowing how to break them down. So we knew that this first match was going to be a case of, all right, how am I actually going to get past these players? And the second reason, we know, FIFA 20, low depth, it's very difficult to get past walls. You have these stalemates. You have to wait to capitalize on a mistake. You have to try and force a mistake. But at the moment, neither player are going down the route of, right, I'm going to try and force the mistake out of my opponent. They're just playing it safe. And I think that's because we're in the first round of Swiss.
Mo Albert wings the ball back then. And he has to score one here. to tie up the game. Tries to find that ball down the line again. Not having too much success with those balls into the channels though. And now you're going to see Maestro come away again. And what a feather in the cap this would be, even though it's the first round of Swiss, of course. For Maestro to take down the world champion really would set a precedent here. And you saw the little hill-to-hill there. Trying to burst past Van Dijk, but he's given the ball away here. Mo Alba, Cruyff, into R9, across to Eusebio. And unfortunately, I think the linesman's flag might have gone up.
It did. That's why Mo Alba just sat back with a little sigh of relief. That final pass from Maestro was just offside. You did see the little bit of goalkeeper movement from Mo Alba, though, predicting it. Goalkeeper movement not as strong in FIFA 20 as 19, but the subtle difference can make or break sometimes. Although I have found, in certain scenarios when you do move the goalkeeper, it can be easier to score. Sometimes the goalkeeper just doesn't react as quickly as they would if you just let them do their job as a goalkeeper. So I think if you over-move the keeper, you are punished in FIFA 20, so it has to be a very subtle amount.
It's an interesting conversation as well. Obviously, you know, we've talked... You see a lot of the pros talking about how good ter Stegen is on this game and, you know, how it's their favourite goalkeeper, but because of having the availability of these icons, etc., difficult to get him in if you want to play Van Dijk, because he's going to be playing on 8-chem. So you can see a lot of Van der Sar so far. I'll be interested to see if anyone does take that risk to play a slightly off-chem ter Stegen in this tournament. Messi now trying to get inside the box, and Messi will get a piece of that. And Maestro will bring it away.
There are some people just not playing Van Dijk and playing ter Stegen with Maldini and Blanc, for example, which I think, in my opinion, is better. But that's because I've tried Blanc and I've tried Van Dijk, and I'm just more comfortable with my defensive style. It's all about your style and how you defend and how you want to get in your opponent's face. Or are you going to sit back and hope that your Van Dijk can just be a brick wall? Or do you want a faster defender just in case you make mistakes? There's all these different things you have to think about when you're building your team.
30 minutes left for Mo Alba to find a chance to create the first chance of this game. And unfortunately for him there, the hill-to-hill is just going to let that ball run harmlessly out of play. And for Maestro, that's exactly what you want, just being gifted possession back.
And something that Maestro has been doing well, or we saw him do well at the Draft Story Cup, certainly is keeping possession, is frustrating his opponent. He's not the same player we saw at the start of FIFA 19, where he was quite rash, he would make mistakes, he would go for the goals. Instead, and I've said it before, I think he learnt a lot from teaming up with Dax in the E-Nations during FIFA 19. He learnt a lot about himself, he's matured not only as a player, but as a person. And now it's about whether he can see this game out, because that's what you've got to think about. You're a goal up, there's 24 minutes remaining. I should see this game out now.
Here's Hullet then, tries to find that reverse ball here to Johan Cruyff. Into the box, Eusebio strikes a goal. Maldini got in the way though. And Mo Alba with a little bit of a worrying moment there. Alarm bell certainly going off. That could have been the game if he had taken that chance. Maestro now comes forward again. Mo Alba needs to be so careful in these last few minutes. Referee will pull that bomb back for a free kick. Patrick Vieira is the culprit.
And Mo Alba is lunging in quite a lot, and actually it worked out for him with Maldini there. The lunge was enough to get his leg across to make the interception, and Maldini's just so good as a centre-back. But if you can then add those extra little bits by knowing when to lunge in, then you're going to be in a better situation defensively. As now, we are going to see Mo Alba going gung-ho. He's going to be throwing everything forward at this point. He's really just trying to grab that equaliser to try and send this first Swiss round to extra time. And for Maestro, he's going to have a little chat with his coach of, all right, let's stay calm. I have the lead. Let's keep hold of the ball. Let's reduce Mo Alba's chances. And if he presents me with an opportunity, then I'll take it. And that's something that he's been doing throughout the entire tie.
So it looks like it is going to be the 4-1-2-1-2 narrow formation employed here by Mo Alba. Such a good attacking formation with that cam and those two strikers up top. And obviously the instructions will be adjusted to see some of those midfielders getting forward. You saw Kylian Mbappe going to be playing as that right central midfielder as well. So he'll be certainly getting involved in the action. But for the time being, he needs to win the ball back here from Maestro. And if Maestro could make the most of this opportunity, there might not be enough time for Mo Alba to even get back in this game. Here's Neymar, gets a little bit fortunate. Van Dijk steps in though. And now Moalba can come forward. And it's Cristiano Ronaldo here on this left-hand side.
Yeah, we've seen the super subs being introduced. Neymar, Mbappe, Cristiano Ronaldo, all with the fresh legs now. And can that be the difference maker for either of these? As Mbappe, unfortunately, can't get past
Gets it back, though. And now the ball inside to Neymar, heel to heel here from Maestro, but Moalba will win the ball back.
There's just something scary about Neymar and Mbappe attacking your defenders. You're so used to seeing it in your weekend leagues, and now you're seeing it at this tournament as well. As Messi, also on this right-hand side, finds Mbappe.
Here's R9, here is Mbappe, the inform! And the super sub has an almost immediate impact here for Moalba.
It's not often you see Mbappe scoring with his left foot. And it is a 4-star, does have that ability. It just snuck under the boot of Van Dijk, so close to blocking it. With the keeper, unfortunately, not able to stop it. Mbappe's shooting statistics. But as he got that upgrade with the inform, slowly improving and slowly becoming that item we saw in FIFA 19. Team of the year Mbappe, remember that? Nightmares. Every time I even see Mbappe's name.
Well, that's what Moalba needed. That was the first real chance of this game, to be honest with you. And from distance, killing Mbappe from that right central midfield position in that 4-1-2-1-2. Managed to take it. Little flip-flop's going to fall back to R9. And Maestro strikes back.
And that is the cruel game of FIFA. He's been working all the time. 80 odd minutes to get back into it. And as soon as he gets a glimmer of hope, Maestro snatches it back. R9 deadly in front of goal. If he's able to bundle his way through and he gets into a one-on-one situation, you know full well it's going in. If you are of the lucky few who has tried R9, he is ridiculous.
I think Moalba's going to feel hard done by again. But the German, he's a world champ for a reason, and here's R9! Look at his strike back immediately, 85 minutes on the clock. Moalba, Van der Sar has to come and deal with this. Messi will collect the pieces. But it can't quite get there. And a chance here for Maestro just to breathe for a second. R9 trying to beat Carlos Alberto to the ball. And now you have to wonder, does he have enough time to win this ball back?
You can see there's a lot of black shirts pressing the red here. But if Maestro has the experience that we've seen throughout the seasons, he'll know how to just hold on to the ball, how to keep this ball away. The keeper comes out. Van der Sar making a massive challenge there. He's been in the wars, actually, hasn't he, this game?
FIFA 19 flashbacks there of Cristiano Ronaldo rising at the back post, but it was Edwin van der Sar. And I think this will be, if managed properly, the first game of the FIFA 20 competitive season. Going to the hands of Vitality's Maestro, taking down the world champion Moalba. What a statement this is, and there is the final whistle. And that is the result, and there is a familiar celebration from Maestro. He wins on aggregate 3-2. What a game that was.
We've seen it before, a world champion goes to his first tournament after winning said championship and loses the first game. I mean, Moalba was close, but unfortunately just couldn't make enough chances, and Maestro was capitalizing. It was just one of those games. I feel like it really could have gone either way.
Yeah, I have to agree with you. Moalba look back on that game, as I say, feel a little bit aggrieved, especially with that winning goal as well, having worked so hard to create the first real chance, you know, the game he managed to take, and then almost immediately from the kickoff, he has the little ricochet come back off of Van Dijk. It just didn't go right. It's unfortunate.
Sometimes it happens, and we'll talk a little bit more about it later, but now we've got Julian from Bundled going up against Dito. Of course, Dito, former champion as well. German player who's struggled throughout the 19 season. They are currently tying 0-0 in the second leg, 17th minute, so very much a game where two players struggling to break one another down at the moment. And
You know what? I'm not really that surprised. Dito has always been a very defensive player, and I knew that people were going to struggle to score against him in FIFA 20.
Yeah, we'll have to see how the season goes for Dito. I think by his own standards, a lackluster showing in FIFA 19 just wasn't his particular type, but we know the qualities that he does have. We know his achievements in the past. For Julian, a name that we didn't see too much last year in FIFA 19. It was interesting. Keep an eye, especially on these first events, Dan. Those players who are coming through qualification, surprising a few people, and maybe making a name for themselves here in FIFA 20.
Dito, one of there's like 13 German players at this tournament. Incredible, really, that how Germany is just able to breed these FIFA players that seem to qualify tournament in, tournament out, and seem to be dominating the scene. And quite fitting that Moaba was able to become the world champion, the first ever German world champion, considering how many top players they have. But can we see someone else rise up? Are we going to see Dito rise from the ashes like a phoenix after he kind of burned down a little bit last season?
The patient build up here from Julian. You can see the player switching frantic here from Dito, trying to close down that space. Pull it into Zidane. Of course, a new icon added to the game. What a player he is. Pull it to Zidane. I'm sure any manager would absolutely kill to have those two in their central midfield areas. Here's Johan Cruyff, but Dito finally wins the ball back there. Great patience from the German.
And obviously we've joined this late, but you can already see the frustration from players where you're playing that 1-2 between your two central defensive midfielders, Zidane and Hullet, just playing it back and forth until one of the strikers shows up and shows for the ball. But as soon as they do, they're just bombarded by all those red shirts. And it is a very frustrating experience when you are sat and you're trying to grab that goal. And then you get into the final few minutes and you start to worry, well, what if I give away this chance? What if I throw away this 100 minutes of grinding all for nothing?
We've seen another player selection in at fullback here, left back. We've got Zambrotta playing, the Italian icon for Dito. We've seen the likes of Carlos Alberto, speaking of which, just wins the ball back here comfortably for Bundles Julian. Roberto Carlos, another player we didn't see too much last year, of course, was in the game. And now we're seeing Zambrotta in at that fullback position, but at the end of regulation time here, the second leg, no goals to report.
Another fun fact, Zambrotta also transitioned into management. 2016, he was the manager of the Delhi Dynamo. Not his finest moment, but he then moved on. He's assistant manager now, I think. A different club. But he was at the Delhi Dynamo.
Weird facts. I don't know where you're getting this from.
No, it's great though.
I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, but they are weird.
Imagine being like one of the best players in the world, playing at Italy, and then going and managing the Delhi Dynamos.
Good team.
It's great.
Great team. Anyway, we're seeing some changes coming in here. You can see Kylian Mbappe, who did make the difference. Going to be going on that right-hand side. Neymar. It's that central cam roll there. Julian. Dito looking around. Looks a little bit lost, Dan.
No! No!
You're going to be alright, Dito. I mean, to be fair, after 180 minutes of 0-0,
I like how you said you're going to be alright, Dito, as well. He just shook his head. Like, right on time. He's like,
I just want a goal. We saw this, so at the Draft Story Cup, we saw a couple of games. Well, actually, we saw one game that was 240 minutes without, because I went to extra time both times, without a goal. And then they went to penalties. Because the players just couldn't break each other down. When you get this match of two good players who know how to defend, but maybe don't have much flair going forward, they don't have the ability to use skill moves, it just becomes this clash of nothingness going forward. And it's just about who's going to make that mistake. So players who are very good at holding onto the ball, who are very good at defending, they need to work on their attacking skills. They need to find ways to break down. And I'm not saying it's easy, because I know it isn't. But there are ways. And I think we're going to see that in this tournament. We're going to see certain players who find it easier than others to break down their opponents.
Well, here's Dito coming forward. Patrick Vieira with a supporting run outside of him. I think the fullbacks getting forward might be something. Is going to unlock some defenses here, excuse me, as Carlos Alberto with a little drag back there. Oh, just a second of time, and the offside flag will stay down here as Pele, just for a moment, managed to escape. The deepest line, Tito now. Well, it turns back inside. Being absolutely shadowed, though. And the man with the big hair. On the other side of things, Julian, and he wins the ball back there. He's usually, we know he's a special player. We've been saying it for years now, but on FIFA 20, we've had a lot of pros saying he is quite simply the best player on the game. It's not even his prime.
He's ridiculous. I mean, so I used R9 for a weekend league, you know. I committed all those coins to using him. I feel like Hullet is a better investment of coins than R9 is. Even though R9 is amazing, I just think Hullet is more of an all-round player that will improve your team if you're going to invest heavily
in every single area.
Exactly. It just seems like wherever you are on the pitch, Hullet is there. He's waiting. He's like lurking underneath your bed like a scary monster.
Well, here is Ruud Hullet then for Julian. Gets the ball back here. Zidane now on the edge of the box. Can Zizou unlock the defense? Eusebio trying to pull the ball back. Carlos Alberto won't be able to find the pass there. And Eusebio will win the ball back. Zidane strikes a goal, and Ter Stegen turns it behind.
Ter Stegen, also a rock, and that's also Vieira at centre-back.
שכאילו אלה מדברים, השדרנים מדברים. נקי.
תקופה מצוינת.
ודן.
כדור מצוין שלו לאמבפה שהוא סופרסטאר מטורף השנה.
אמבפה.
אמבפה עם הריצה.
איזה ריצה על הקו.
אמבפה פשוט מטורף.
סקיל?
נו! אמבפה זה עדיין שלך.
לאמצע. אחורה עשו סדר.
נו, וולית! פלדמן עושה את הטריק.
הידוע שלו.
שמחכה שיצא לה ואז עושה את הסקיל.
נו!
לא,
רק מתפרצת. אני מתפרצת.
אוסבי הוא אחד המטורפים בהתפרצות, וזה מה שאסור עכשיו לפלדמן שיקרה לו.
יופי!
מצוין, ונדל.
זה הגנה.
הגנת ברזל, מה שנקרא.
נו!
עושה ביוחר עכשיו ביטה! לא, עוד אחד!
נו! תגיע!
אמבפה זה שלך, לא, כן, גם טוב.
פלדמן ידע לעשות קרנות, פלדמן ידע קרנות, פלדמן ידע קרנות!
פלדמן עכשיו כנראה ירים, הוא מצוין, אבל הרחקה.
5 דקות תוסיף את הזמן.
נו! זידן! תיזהר זידן, יש לך את וולית. מה שהוא עושה.
בטח, פלדמן לחוץ.
הוא יודע שהוא חייב עוד גול אחד להערכה.
נו!
זה נורא חשוב לו הניצחון.
יופי!
ונדייק מתחיל לקרות, הוא הלך אולין פלדמן.
דקה לו תוסיף את הזמן.
פלדמן חייב לנצח את זה. כן, אוסביו. אוסביו! אוקיי, יש לו לפלדמן עוד קרן.
אוי מלא. אבל פלדמן. דקה אחרונה. לא!
הנה כאן הטעות עם המסירה והשחקן מחליט להעיף ונראה את מה שנגמר.
נראה שיגמר המשחק.
3, 2, 1. עדיין אין שחקן.
נייס פלדמן, נייס.
יש עכשיו ששאר יעיף, ייגמר המשחק. כן, נגמר המשחק.
הוא גמר את המשחק. איזה באסה, כל הקהל מבואס. איזה באסה.
325.
לא קיבל כסף.
צבא לשתות.
טוב, בואו נשים את זה, אנחנו כמה דקות חוזרים אליכם.
בואו נראה את ג'וליאן. כפי שאנחנו יודעים, ג'וליאן ונטו הם שניהם שחקנים מצוינים.
little bit of frustration for Dito because he felt like he worked himself into a really good position, but he's going to get one more chance before we go to penalties.
And he has to go forward, he has to be aggressive, and here is Neymar doing just that. Drives the ball into the box, and Patrick Vieira there in that centre-back position, showing exactly why players are favouring it. So we go to the spot, and it'll be Dito up first with Messi. Steps up. And that's not one that you're going to want to see again.
And penalties are going to be very different for a lot of these players. You can see the cursor is turned off. That's part of the tournament rules, so it's going to make it a lot harder for them to try and be precise with these penalties. You don't have the cursor you'd usually have at home, as now Dito steps up as both early penalties missed. Neymar chance. He's got a long runner, but that one's buried into the bottom right-hand corner.
Yeah, it's a great penalty there from Dito, and now Julian has to answer back. A lot of this going to be dependent on muscle memory. Neymar goes down the middle and converts.
Middle is the safest option. You've also got to be very aware of where that head movement is going, as it's also another one driven down the middle for Dito.
Mbappe versus ter Stegen then. Julian misses. Saved there by Dito.
Can he hold his nerve? Now he has the lead, Dito. It's been a tough road, and he's managing to go 3-1 up, and it's must score for Julian.
Julian needs to score, as you say, Dan. R9 steps up and misses, and Dito grinds out a win in the first round of the Swiss. We didn't see him much last year, but it looks like the German might have just found form here in FIFA 20.
Well, I mean, but grind is the correct word. I mean, we jumped into it late. However, when you get to that point where it's a penalty shootout and there was no goals, almost no chances, if he carries on playing that way, he is going to be a very, very tired boy when it comes to tomorrow if he gets out of Swiss.
So we've had our first 2 games of the day. Welcome to the FIFA 20 competitive scene. It's going to do it all from the caster's desk for now. I'll send it back to the guys and the girl on the couches.
Thank you, guys. And the action's kicked off straight away, hasn't it? I mean, you've had a great game between 2 of the biggest names in the scene, followed up with a penalty shootout. I actually think penalties, as a spectator, are very fun this year because you've got no idea where it's going to go.
They got more tricky, haven't they, if you're actually playing it, because you don't know where they're going to go either. As you could just see there, Dito, first penalty there, absolutely skied it, didn't he?
I always remember, I read this book once, it talked about who was the best penalty taker in the world, and this time, this book's called Soccernomics, it said Frank Ribery was the best, because statistically, he didn't know where he was going to put it himself, so how could anyone predict him? When I take penalties in this game, I do the same thing. I just close my eyes and just hope for the best.
Brandon, surely that's not going to work. Close your eyes and hope for the best.
I mean, for me, it's just down the middle. A little fake head, the movement to left or right. Keep it in the middle, keep it simple. But other than that, I think I've had 1 penalty that I've hit the top corner in. Other than that, it's just over into the crowd, road.